You didn't just find this video by chance. The very fact that you're here, listening right now, is the proof. Out of billions of distractions, endless content, random scrolling, you stopped here, and that is not an accident. That is recognition. That is alignment. It means something. It means everything. Only a few people are drawn to messages like this. Only a few have the inner readiness to receive what is being transmitted through these words. And readiness is not about time on a calendar. It is not about age or education or luck. It is vibration, a frequency you've been broadcasting quietly, sometimes without even realizing it. And the universe has been listening, waiting for this exact moment to send a response back to you. Think back over your life. Haven't you felt it? That invisible thread weaving through your days? Those uncanny nudges, the strange alignments, the synchronicities that repeat until you can't ignore them anymore. The repeating numbers, the meaningful chance encounters, the way a phrase or symbol shows up right when you needed it most. The frequency that made you stop in your tracks, that made you whisper to yourself, "This is not random. This is intelligence. This is reality showing its hidden code." And deep inside, you knew it. You weren't imagining it. That was recognition. You've been sensing something that most people can't detect. You've been tuned into a wavelength that not everyone can hold. And here's what chills most people when they realize it. That wavelength has been building inside of you for years. It didn't appear overnight. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every closed door wasn't punishment. It was calibration. Every time you walked through pain that could have broken you, every time you kept going when nothing made sense, you were strengthening your signal. Every betrayal stripped away illusions and forced you to trust your own inner knowing. Every so-called failure taught you that your worth has never depended on outcomes. Each challenge was an activation, a refinement, a hidden initiation. And now, here you are, at the edge of expansion, standing at a threshold moment where everything shifts, because you're not who you were yesterday. You can feel it in your bones. The old ways don't work anymore. The patterns that once felt familiar are too small now. The restlessness in your chest, the pressure in your mind, the quiet demand in your soul, they're not random discomforts. They are signals. They are proof that you're already outgrowing an old version of reality. Most people ignore this process. They drown it out with distractions. They cling to the comfort of the known. They silence the whispers. But you didn't. That's why you're here. That's why you kept searching, kept wondering, kept feeling. And because you did, your consciousness kept expanding, whether you noticed it or not. Right now, you are living between two realities. One is the consensus world, the so-called normal reality, the one governed by limitation, by scarcity, by endless struggle, where change is slow and miracles are rare. That's the world most people never question. But then there's the second reality, the one you've glimpsed, the one where thought and intention create outcomes, where consciousness shapes matter, where your inner frequency bends the external world, the one where what you expect with your entire being becomes what you experience. And you've been traveling between them all along, sometimes consciously, sometimes not, sometimes doubting yourself, sometimes thinking you were imagining it, but you weren't. Those moments were not illusions. They were calibrations. Every time you experience the impossible becoming possible, even for a second, You were touching the fabric of the second reality, and each time, your system learned to hold more of it. That's why it feels both exciting and unstable, because you're calibrating. You're learning to navigate between dimensions of consciousness. And now the pressure is building. You've felt it lately, haven't you? That internal surge, that sense that something inside you is expanding beyond the boundaries of who you thought you were. It's uncomfortable because transformation always is. The old identity is dissolving while the new one emerges. And that in-between space feels like chaos. But here's the truth nobody explains. That chaos is actually coherence reorganizing itself at a higher level. Think of water turning into steam. For a moment it's not liquid, it's not gas. It's both and neither. It's a transition state. That's where you are. You're dissolving the old operating system while the new one is coming online. And once it fully stabilizes, you'll never go back to who you were. But this isn't random. This has been orchestrated. Your higher self, the version of you that exists beyond time, has been preparing this moment for years. That self has been planting synchronicities, arranging wake-up calls, setting up challenges, so that when this moment arrived, you'd be ready. And here you are, right here, right now. The pressure you're feeling isn't asking you to become someone else. It's asking you to stop pretending, to stop playing small, to stop silencing the truth you've always known, that there is more, that you are more, and that the world is waiting for you to embody it. Every wisdom tradition has tried to describe this moment. Some call it awakening, others call it remembrance. Some name it enlightenment. But beneath the words, it's all pointing to the same phenomenon. The instant when human consciousness remembers it is divine consciousness, temporarily playing the role of a human. And when that remembrance drops from theory into your body, into your cells, into your bones, everything changes. Not because the universe suddenly changes how it treats you, but because you finally change how you respond to the universe. You stop begging for signs. You stop waiting for proof. You realize you are the sign. Look back for a second at the path that brought you here. What if your so-called failures were not failures at all? What if they were course corrections? What if the closed doors were protections? What if the delays were not punishments, but preparation? What if every detour was precisely the road you needed? Think about the heartbreaks. They taught you how to keep your heart open even when it hurts. The betrayals, they forced you to trust your own inner compass. The losses, they showed you that your value was never in what you owned or who stayed, but in what you are. Each painful moment was an activation, a coded refinement of your consciousness. That's not just growth. That's evolution. You've been upgrading all along, building the ability to hold more light, more love, more truth, more power. Even in the moments when you thought you were breaking, you were actually expanding. The confusion built your tolerance for uncertainty. The loneliness taught you self-trust. The struggles gave you strength you didn't even know you had. Every piece of it was training. Every season was coding. And all of it led here, to this exact moment where you finally realize you are ready. But now the universe is asking something different. It's no longer asking you to hope. It's not asking for passive faith. It's asking for certainty, embodied certainty. The kind of certainty that changes how you breathe, how you walk into a room, how you speak to yourself when no one else is around. And certainty is not something you manufacture. It's something you remember. Think back to your childhood, before the world trained you to separate real from not real. Remember how you could imagine a world and step into it like it was alive? That wasn't fantasy. That was quantum truth. Children naturally live in possibility. They feel the aliveness of reality. They expect magic. They expect miracles. You did too, until conditioning told you to stop. To return to that state now isn't regression. It's evolution. It's upgrading into higher dimensional thinking where logic still exists, but intuition and energy lead the way. It's remembering that you are not separate from the intelligence that spins galaxies. You are that intelligence, expressing itself in human form. And here's the part that shifts everything. Your future self already knows this. The version of you that lives in peace, abundance, and unshakable confidence isn't waiting to be created. They already exist in the quantum field, and they're broadcasting constantly. You felt them, in flashes of inspiration, in surges of energy that came out of nowhere, in dreams that felt like memory instead of fantasy. That's your future self collaborating with you across time. Your job is not to become them. Your job is to tune in, to live as though the gap between you and them is already closed. Because in truth, it is. This isn't pretending. This isn't delusion. This is quantum mechanics applied to consciousness. In physics, particles exist in multiple states until observed. The observation collapses all possibilities into one. That's what your consciousness is doing. Your attention is collapsing infinite potential into one lived reality. And the reality you collapse depends entirely on your frequency. So listen closely. What you desire is not far away. It's not waiting years ahead. It's not something you must chase endlessly. It's here. It's now. It's vibrating at a frequency just beyond the one you've been holding. And the moment you shift your frequency, the separation dissolves. What you want wants you back. The vision that haunts you is also reaching for you. The abundance you crave is already aligned with you. The love you dream of is already calling your name. Your task is not to chase. Your task is to align. Not to pull it in, but to remember it was never separate in the first place. Alignment, not attraction. Resonance, not force. That's the truth. That's the code. And if you're still here, still listening, still feeling these words echo inside you, then you already know. You are ready. You can already feel it, can't you? That quiet but undeniable pull. That tension between who you were and who you're becoming. It's like a whisper and a roar at the same time. A whisper telling you to trust, and a roar demanding that you embody it. That's the edge of transformation. That's the place where calibration becomes embodiment. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. Transformation always does. Think of the caterpillar inside the chrysalis. From the outside, it looks like destruction, like chaos, like death. But on the inside, what's really happening is reorganization. Every cell is dissolving and rearranging into a completely new pattern. The old identity cannot survive the process, but something infinitely more powerful emerges from it. That's where you are right now, in your chrysalis, in the collapse of an old version of yourself so the next version can fly. And here's the truth most people never understand. The collapse is not failure. It is the proof. It is the evidence that the old timeline is dissolving and the new one is stabilizing. Your discomfort is confirmation that pressure you feel in your chest, that sense that you can't go back even if you tried, that's not breakdown, that's breakthrough. Your higher self orchestrated this perfectly. Every detour, every loss, every delay was preparation. It wasn't random suffering, it was coded alignment. Because if you had received what you wanted too soon, you would not have been able to hold it. That relationship would have crumbled. That opportunity would have slipped through your fingers. That abundance would have overwhelmed you. You weren't ready yet, and now you are. Think about it. How many times did you think you were ready, only to look back later and realize that you would have sabotaged it? How many times did you push for something, only to later see that it wasn't aligned at all? The timing was never wrong. You were never being punished. You were being refined. And now the refinement is complete. So stop waiting. Stop bargaining. Stop wondering if you're enough. The truth is, you always were. You always are. Worthiness is not something you achieve. It is something you remember. The very fact that you exist is the proof. You didn't have to earn your existence. You don't have to earn your expansion either. And yet, here's the paradox. Even though it's always been yours, you still have to claim it. You still have to embody it. You still have to move like someone who knows they belong. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you are being. So who are you being? Are you being someone who doubts, who waits, who postpones alignment until conditions look perfect? Or are you being someone who knows, who claims, who embodies their future self now? Because every thought, every word, every action is broadcasting a frequency, and reality has no choice but to mirror it back. This is the observer effect, the fundamental truth of quantum physics applied to consciousness. When you observe yourself as limited, reality mirrors limitation. When you observe yourself as abundant, reality mirrors abundance. When you observe yourself as powerful, aligned, and certain, reality bends to reflect it. Your attention collapses infinite potential into lived experience. Every moment, every breath. So let me remind you again, what you want is not out there. It's not far away. It's here. It's now. It's vibrating at a frequency you already have access to. The only question is, are you tuning in? Imagine a radio station. The song you want to hear is already playing. But if your dial is set to static, you'll miss it. It doesn't mean the song isn't real. It just means you're not tuned in. That's how your desires work. You're not creating them from nothing. You're tuning into them from everything. And when you align your whole being, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, onto the same frequency, coherence happens. And coherence is magnetic. That's why when you're in flow, opportunities appear out of nowhere. That's why synchronicities pile up when you're aligned. That's why life feels effortless when you're certain, because coherence bends reality. But here's the trap most people fall into. They confuse chasing with alignment. They think they need to work harder, prove more, wait longer. They treat their vision like a prize they might not win. But the truth is, if you can see it, if you can feel it, if you can imagine it with resonance, it's already yours. Your imagination is not fantasy. It's a perception organ. It's how your consciousness perceives realities that exist in potential form. Every great idea, every breakthrough invention, every revolutionary movement, none of them were fantasies. They were downloads. They were glimpses of realities waiting to be embodied. And your visions, your desires, your dreams are no different. They are invitations from the quantum field, previews of what's already aligned for you. But they don't manifest through doubt. They don't manifest through waiting. They manifest through coherence, through the moment when every part of your being says yes. So let me ask you, what is the one thing your whole being says yes to? Not the thing you think you should want, not the thing you're chasing to prove yourself, but the thing that makes every cell in your body vibrate with recognition. That's your alignment. That's your blueprint. That's the frequency that collapses realities instantly. And here's the wildest part. Your future self is already living it. They're broadcasting it back to you constantly. Every inspired idea, every sudden surge of motivation, every vision that flashes in your mind, they're signals. Signals from the you who already made it, the you who already embodies it. You don't have to become them. You simply have to tune in, to align your frequency with theirs, to live as if the gap is already closed, because it is. And when you do, something irreversible happens. You cross the threshold, you step into coherence, and from that point forward, life can never go back to what it was. Because once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Once you've felt it, you can't unfeel it. Once you've remembered, you can't forget. This is the turning point. The shift from calibration to embodiment, from hoping to knowing, from waiting to claiming, from chasing to aligning. Take a deep breath right now and feel it in your body. You are not imagining this. You are not just hearing words. You are receiving activation. You are remembering who you are, and the universe is listening. Every breath you take in coherence sends a signal. Every thought you align with truth sends a command. Every action you take from certainty reorganizes reality around you. That's the level of power you've always had. That's the truth you came here to remember. And now we go deeper, because once you've reached this threshold, the question isn't whether you'll expand, it's how fully you'll allow it. The old version of you is dissolving, and in its place, something extraordinary is being born. But here's the thing, expansion is not automatic. It requires choice. It requires embodiment. It requires that you stop negotiating with your own potential and start claiming it. Most people reach this edge and retreat. They feel the pressure, the discomfort, the chaos of transition, and they run back to safety. But you can't. Not anymore. You've seen too much. You've felt too much. You know too deeply that there is no going back. The cocoon is dissolving, and the butterfly is emerging whether your old self likes it or not. So the only real choice left is, will you resist it or will you cooperate with it? Because resistance turns transformation into suffering. Cooperation turns it into liberation. And you already know which one you came here for. Think of all the times you tried to shrink yourself, to fit into rooms that were too small, to silence your truth so others could stay comfortable, to dim your light so no one would feel threatened. How did that work? Did it ever bring you peace? Did it ever bring you fulfillment? Or did it only deepen the ache inside you, the ache that whispered, "You are more"? That ache was never wrong. That whisper was never false. It was your higher self demanding expression, demanding to live, to breathe, to create. And now that demand can no longer be ignored. This is why old patterns feel unbearable now. Why the jobs, the relationships, the habits that once felt tolerable now feel suffocating. It's not because you're broken, It's because you've outgrown them. Your frequency has shifted, and the old structures cannot hold it anymore. It's like wearing clothes 3 sizes too small. They might have fit once. They might have served a purpose once. But now they're restricting, constricting, cutting off your circulation. You can't stay in them. And the truth is, you don't even want to. That's why you found this message. That's why you press play, because deep down you knew it was time. Time to stop negotiating with your own greatness. Time to stop pretending you're smaller than you are. Time to stop asking for permission to be what you've always been. The universe doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty. And certainty is not arrogance. It's alignment. It's coherence. It's when every part of your being vibrates in unison with the truth of who you are. That's what moves reality. That's what bends timelines. That's what collapses potential into form. And you've already felt it, haven't you? Those moments when everything lined up effortlessly, when the right person appeared at the exact right time, when opportunities unfolded without struggle, when you felt guided by something bigger than yourself. Those weren't accidents. That was coherence. That was you aligned with the frequency of your future self. But here's the secret. You don't have to wait for those moments to happen randomly. You can live in that state consistently. You can stabilize it. You can become coherence embodied. And when you do, life stops being a series of random ups and downs and starts being a steady stream of alignment and flow. But it requires discipline, not the kind of discipline that forces you into routines you hate, but the discipline of awareness, the discipline of choosing coherence over chaos, alignment over doubt, trust over fear, every single day, every single moment. Because make no mistake, fear will try to creep back in. Doubt will whisper in your ear. Old patterns will try to pull you back. That's normal. That's the echo of your old frequency. But you are not obligated to answer that call. You are not obligated to step back into that identity. You can choose differently. And the more consistently you choose alignment, the more the old echoes fade. It's like training a muscle. At first it feels shaky. At first you doubt your strength. But the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Until one day, what once felt impossible is effortless. That's how alignment works. That's how certainty stabilizes. That's how coherence becomes your default. And once coherence is your default, miracles stop feeling like miracles. They start feeling like normal life. Because the extraordinary becomes ordinary when you live in alignment with your true frequency. This is the life your higher self has been guiding you toward all along. That's why every so-called failure was necessary. That's why every delay was perfect. That's why every heartbreak, every disappointment, every challenge was coded into your path, not to break you, to build you, to refine you, to expand you. So take a moment right now and let that sink in. Everything you've been through wasn't random. It was orchestration. It was alignment. It was preparation for this exact moment, for the moment when you would finally stop waiting and start embodying. And here's the most important part. You don't have to do it alone. Your future self is guiding you. Your higher self is guiding you. The universe is conspiring with you. Every inspired thought, every intuitive nudge, every synchronicity is proof. Proof that you are supported. Proof that you are guided. Proof that you are exactly where you need to be. So breathe it in, anchor it, feel it in your cells, This is not just a message. This is an activation. This is your sign. This is your turning point. And when you walk out of this moment with certainty, with coherence, with alignment, life will bend to meet you. Not because you forced it, but because you remembered. Not because you begged for it, but because you claimed it. Not because you changed into someone else, but because you finally allowed yourself to be who you've always been. You've come this far, which means you're no longer who you were when you press play. Something inside you has shifted. You feel it, don't you? That subtle electricity under your skin. That sense that the words you're hearing are not just concepts, but confirmations of something you've always known. You are not here to survive. You are here to create. And creation begins with recognition. Recognition that you are not a small being in a vast universe. You are the universe localized into human form. Recognition that your consciousness is not inside your brain. Your brain is inside your consciousness. Recognition that you are not here to earn worthiness. You are here to express the worthiness you already are. This recognition is what transforms seekers into creators. Most people spend their entire lives searching for answers, for meaning, for love, for validation. But seekers never arrive because seeking implies distance, and distance implies separation. The truth is, what you're seeking has always been within you. The moment you stop seeking and start embodying, you cross the threshold into creation. Think about how many times in your life you thought you had to chase something, chase success, chase relationships, chase recognition. And every time you chase, didn't it slip further away? That's because chasing is noise, and the universe responds to signal, not noise. Signal is coherence. Signal is certainty. Signal is alignment. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing, everything starts arriving. Not because it wasn't there before, but because you finally tuned into the frequency where it already existed. Your desires are not far away. They're not waiting in some distant future. They exist here, now, in the quantum field of infinite possibility, and your frequency is the only thing standing between you and them. This is why imagination is so powerful. Because imagination is not fantasy, it's frequency detection. When you imagine a future that excites you, you are not making it up. You are perceiving a timeline that already exists. You're glimpsing a reality that is broadcasting, waiting for you to tune in fully enough to collapse it into form. That's why your visions feel so real, because they are real, just in a dimension you haven't stabilized yet. And stabilization is the key. Anyone can have a moment of inspiration, a flash of vision, a fleeting synchronicity. But masters of reality learn to stabilize those frequencies until they become their default. That's the difference between people who manifest occasionally and people who live in flow consistently. Stabilization, coherence, certainty. But let's be honest, stabilization isn't always comfortable. Because in order to stabilize a higher frequency, you have to let go of everything that resonates with the old one. And that means loss. It means release. It means surrender. It means watching certain relationships fade, certain opportunities dissolve, certain identities crumble. And if you don't understand what's happening, it feels like your life is falling apart. But it's not falling apart. It's falling into place. Think about it. How could your higher self bring you into alignment while you are still holding on to everything built on misalignment. It can't. The old has to dissolve for the new to emerge. And that dissolution feels like chaos, but it's actually order reorganizing itself at a higher level. It's metamorphosis. It's alchemy. So the next time you feel like everything is collapsing, remember, it's collapsing for you, not against you. It's collapsing because your frequency no longer matches the old structures. And that's not failure. That's proof of expansion. Every so-called breakdown has actually been a breakthrough in disguise. Every closed door has been a redirection. Every rejection has been protection. And every delay has been divine timing. Your life hasn't been punishing you. It's been preparing you. And the preparation is complete. That's why you're hearing these words now. Because the waiting season is over. The calibration season is ending. And the embodiment season is beginning. Embodiment means you stop hoping and start knowing. You stop wishing and start claiming. You stop asking and start being. It means you walk through your days as if the version of you you've always envisioned has already arrived. Because in the quantum, they have. You speak with the authority of someone who knows their words shape worlds. You move with the certainty of someone who knows they belong wherever they go. You make choices with the clarity of someone who understands that intuition is the highest form of intelligence. And here's what happens when you embody like that. The world bends. People respond to you differently. Opportunities start chasing you. Synchronicities multiply. What used to feel impossible starts to feel inevitable. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are being. So the real question is, who are you being right now? Are you being the old you, the one who doubts, who hesitates, who shrinks? Or are you being the expanded you, the one who trusts, who acts, who embodies? Every moment you get to choose. Every moment you are broadcasting a signal. Every moment you are collapsing a reality. And here's the truth. Your signal is stronger than you think. That's why people feel something once they're around you. That's why synchronicities chase you. That's why you keep stumbling into messages like this one. Because your field is magnetic. Because your consciousness is powerful. Because your being is broadcasting at a level that cannot be ignored. This is what the ancients meant when they said you are made in the image of God. Not that you look like a deity in the sky, but that you carry within you the creative frequency of the universe itself. You don't just live in reality, you generate it. You don't just observe the field, you collapse it. You don't just respond to life, you design it. And once you accept that, everything changes. Fear loses its grip. Doubt becomes irrelevant. Waiting becomes unnecessary. Because you realize you were never meant to live at the mercy of circumstances. You were meant to orchestrate them. You were never meant to follow timelines. You were meant to bend them. You were never meant to be a seeker. You were meant to be a creator. So here is the invitation. Stop playing small. Stop waiting. Stop hiding. Step fully into the frequency that has been calling you your entire life. The frequency of coherence, the frequency of certainty, the frequency of alignment. Because when you do, reality has no choice but to mirror it back. This is why you found this video. This is why you're still listening. This is why every word feels like remembering rather than learning. Because you've reached the threshold, and there is no going back. From this moment forward, You are not just someone listening to words. You are someone embodying truth. You are someone collapsing timelines. You are someone activating realities. And when you live like that, when you walk like that, when you breathe like that, the world will never be the same again.